I'm 50% like really, really honored to be reading with such wonderful writers, and 50% like, oh God, do I really have to do this? But the answer seems to be yes. So I'm going to start with the piece that's in this issue of Little Patuxent. It's called How to Keep an Egg. My daughter found a bird's egg, cracked in half, stippled blue, the inside smooth against her probing fingertip. I know which kind this is, she cried, flipping the plumed pages of her field guide past blackbird and magpie, stopping proudly at robin. I didn't tell her about the downy mess I found that morning on the driveway, sunset of guts unspooling onto the concrete. At school, they practiced blackout drills, killing the lights, pressing their fledgling backs against the walls. When she asks why, I don't answer with Uvalde, Sandy Hook, Columbine. Instead, the tired parrot in my throat repeats, "To keep you safe," the only song it has been taught. Later, I type "how to keep an egg from breaking" into my search bar and find the Egg Drop Challenge, where children learn to build complicated parachutes from trash, then toss their eggs out windows, cross their fingers. The ones that don't crack win. I wrote this poem after looking out my back window for too long. Analysis paralysis. I've never been sure how to feel about butterflies. Cloud-mouthed confetti, clutch of barbed legs tucked beneath a distraction of wings. Maybe nothing can be beautiful from every angle. Even so, there are choices to be made. Just this minute, a fawn tiptoed into my garden, eager to wrap its lips around the scarlet frill of a ripening bud. Do I want the deer or the daylily? One is eating the other down to the root. I should do something. Should I do something? And what can I do anyway? The bloom already stripped from the branch, the rest of the plant curling in on itself. This is another one inspired by window gazing. Forsythia tends to take me by surprise every year. So, Mother Song. Last night, the Forsythia blinked on like a light, so I called my mother. We can talk about Forsythia, the vivid wash of yellow marking the boundaries of our distant yards with complicated blossoms. Every year the same flipped switch, same hemisphere, same coastline. These are places where we can agree. I don't tell her Forsythia should have a C in it, like scythe, a sharpness to make the flowers sing, the blooming blade slicing through the thick skin to the milk. Instead, we hum our shallow cuts, a symphony of scissored stems still twisting toward the sun. I wrote this one after I learned a strange fact about starfish, which you are now going to learn as well. Mouth. When threatened, starfish drop their arms like penny wishes. It's enough to make you sick when you think about all the work it takes to make a body, the breath and press of it, divisions and divisions. I used to sever earthworms at their midpoint to help them multiply. Opportunity is not the same as permission, even when you're trying to make something grow. My grandmother's garden bloomed like blood in water. She told me never to mistake a shadow for the absence of light, that God put weeds into the earth to test the strength of our arms. She told me to keep my legs crossed and watch my mouth. It doesn't matter what I tell you now, or how I tell it. You can't hear people with mouths like mine. I always thought Little Red Riding Hood was more of a badass than she got credit for, so I wrote this poem. Red. I knew he was the wolf, of course. Meek as a retriever on his bony back, frilled nightcap taut between the peaks of his ears, drooling at the yeasty smell of my basket. Those are some big teeth. Thing is, I'd walked into trouble's mouth before. The woods were cruel, nursed by thicket and thorn, my hood apple bright in the browning light, the huntsman's scarlet quarry. They'll tell you it was he who cut us free, me in my sodden cape, unspeakable, Granny naked and blood-streaked as the day she was born. The truth is, I unzipped that beast, dragged us both out of his bulging gut. I learned early, once you leave the path, you're only as sharp as your blade. This poem is about my dad, and the chorus is taken from Louise Erdrich's Tracks. Early elegy for my father. It's snowing. I clean your mouth with tiny sponges shaped like stars. Nurses bring clean sheets, teach me to recline my chair. I'm wearing reindeer socks in March, I whisper. You press against the bed rails, fence-fettered bull, a groan guttering in your throat. See? Now we're having a conversation. We started dying before the snow, and like the snow, we continued to fall. You used to read me to sleep on summer evenings, humble suns still tacked to fading sky. I'd run to you, tumbleweed of uncombed hair and mint. I liked complicated heroes. Mother Wendy and her brood of headstrong boys, Robin Hood and his merry men shooting through the greenwood. I check your IV lines, twilight of bruises underneath the tape. Open a book, close it again. I can't find you on a page. We started dying before the snow, and like the snow, we continued to fall. I tell you about a sparrow the color of an acorn cap, hopping through the first insubstantial layer of white, its splay-toed prints growing for a moment like branching roots. The whole world looks like magic, I murmur, pushing back against the mechanical silence. Even though I know it's only snow, blunt blanket spread between the hungry earth and a faint scattering of stars. We started dying before the snow, and like the snow. I wrote this poem for my friend Josh. Hi, Josh. Taboo deformations. Our ancestors pressed bear into our mouths, washing out the animal's real name, a string of glottal sounds they feared would rouse the sleeping beast. When they had to speak of it, they used brown one, soft words meant to sheathe the honeyed teeth. Of course, the bear came anyway, insatiable. To name the outside of a thing is not to change its nature. A bear can only be a bear, the same way you can only be your own scarred self, finally waking with your true name heavy as a penny on your tongue. Born. And I started this whole thing with a poem about my daughter, so I'm going to end with a poem about my daughter. Silhouette Matines. Sun's shoulders rise pink against the ridge. Owls glide toward feathered troves of small white bones. My daughter listens to the canticle of crickets, bright page of pictures on her lap, lower lip soft between her teeth. She's searching for a list of hidden things. Slice of bread sketched into a fish's scales, campfire scrawled inside the broad green belly of a bush. She circles each discovery, marking it found, as if finding were as easy as looking, as if the outline could define the thing itself, her fleeting silhouette traced on the back of the waking sky.